Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly video game podcast releasing every Thursday. I am your host, Alex Stadnik, and as always, I am honored to be joined by the illustrious Alex Van Aken.
Hey,
Hello.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Hello.
Thanks for being here. Join us each week alongside a rotating crew of special guests from around the industry and GI editors, which I screwed up, but we're just going to keep on going as we bring you the latest news, reviews, and big man swag your eyes and ears can handle. This week is a weird one, to say the least. If you've been following us, you know about the layoffs. You know that this is my last show as the host of the GI show, and there's been a lot of emotions and some interesting times that we'll get into here today. But so we're going to talk about all that, talk a little Bayo 3 release date, maybe, and we're going to get into this is going to be mainly a community emails podcast because I know for me, some of the best healing that I've done over the last couple of days is when we played Fall Guys on stream and we got to talk and chill with the community, and the vibes were really good, and y'all sent over some awesome questions as well this week. So we're going to keep that going. But first, let me introduce the panel. As always, I still don't have a nickname for you, but Blake Hester, the beautiful boy, king of writing. I don't know what, he's just a king. Look at that man down there. Hello.
King of writing. Barely even write anymore, But here I am.
King editor, maybe. Has the best comment. I don't know what he has. We also have...
Let's redo this intro again.
What?
No. Listen, folks at home, y'all know the drill. Y'all know why it's got to be like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But here I am.
It's weird podcasting today. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, Jill, what the Inquisitor of indie games, what do you want to go out as for my last show?
One that you used recently that was really good, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, that feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Inquisitor?
Everything.
Imperator?
Imperator was one, Inquisitor was one.
Incinerator,
Incineroar?
Yeah, Incineroar, of course.
I did do an Incineroar. The inspector, the identifier, there's something like you're really good at finding indie games is my whole the whole crux of this.
The Informer.
Yeah, the Informer of indie games. There you go.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, that took us forever to come up with.
Wow.
That has Informer in his job name.
We saved the best for last. It was just right under my nose.
Yeah.
Jill Grote is here. Hello, Jill.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I am not excited, but looking forward to, I guess, talking about everything that's happened and sharing it with people. And we love everybody, and everyone's been so great. So, yeah, I kind of again I'm excited for this episode and also kind of dreading it as well.
Right.
So.
That's the mentality I've had for a bit. So, I mean, let's just jump into it, right? If you haven't been following the news with Game Informer, we got hit with layoffs again. We unfortunately lost 3 amazing, talented people. John Carson, Wes LeBlanc, and Jeff Akravic. And Jeff has been here for 14 years, I think he said. So,
so 2 of our associate editors and the creative director of the magazine. They came into work and then didn't have jobs after that day.
Yeah. We found out shortly thereafter.
And I don't believe our management knew either.
No.
Yeah.
No one on the Game Informer side was aware. So here we sit after that, processing, grieving. It sucks. It feels cruel, and I don't know what to do about it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So I think this is a good time to highlight how amazing these 3 people are. Unless anyone wants to jump in before we sing their praises here and keep going.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah. John Carson, Pride of Milwaukee. You know him, you love him. John, for me, was very helpful when it came to streaming and he helped with video a lot for the NGTs and stuff like that. But I think it's John's positivity and I feel like he has the right attitude when it comes to games. He takes things seriously, but it's also like he keeps it in perspective that it is video games and finds the fun in that. And he's been one of my favorite people that I've gotten to work with, and I already miss working with him and talking about Pokemon too. Like that was the thing. Like he and I had the Pokemon connection too. Like one of my favorite things I ever got to work on was with him and Wes, and we just like made the Pokemon ranking. Like we took like a day or two and just like hashed it out, and it was so good and it was so fun. And I also
oh my god, I remember editing that. That was a cool piece.
Yeah. I wasn't sure where you're gonna take that one. Yeah.
I remember
like writing
images.
Yeah.
I remember I felt like I was reading a different language the whole time. Forgot about that.
Yeah. You weren't aware of Incineroar or anything like that? Yeah. Yeah.
I think I wrote maybe to you, but also to John, just various critiques, because obviously the list had been finalized at that point and we were just editing. But I'm like, I can't believe that you chose this person, or like, good thing that you chose this, because any other thing would be incorrect.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't get more. I don't know if we ever put that online. Maybe we should, but
we did.
Did we?
We did, because I had people come and talk to me about it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Any y'all want to chime in about John? Any fun experiences and that kind of stuff?
He was so here for the team. You know, it was just amazing that if you needed a helping hand, he was there for it. I remember very specifically having sort of a fast deadline, a deadline that was coming up fast, and he had to step out to like go drive his wife to the airport or something like that, and I was desperately looking for anybody to look over my piece, and he stopped in his car like at the airport. Like, I don't know if he had a laptop or was on his phone, but he did it from that in that weird position, like just to make sure I had what I needed. And I'm like, Game Informer isn't the same with him gone, and like that's the same to different degrees and for different reasons for a lot of the people that are not here anymore. But man, love you, John.
Yeah, I think John was like a jack of all trades here. Like he did everything here. He wrote for the magazine. He wrote for the website. Obviously, he did the whole news. He was co-hosting one of our podcasts. He was streaming. I mean, there's not really a thing he didn't touch. He was helping with New Gameplay Today's on the YouTube side. Like he literally touched every part of Game Informer, apart from like programming and like design. You know what I mean? Like he just
would have done it if you asked him to, though.
Yeah, he would have. And yeah, he was always. I mean, I can count on one finger the amount of times he told me no. There's many other times he should have told me no, but he took on extra work to help the team. It's just a huge loss to the Game Informer team. I hope that he finds work quickly. I already know people were in my DMs asking about John and also the others, but I just hope he finds something that is satisfying and that he ends up in a better spot, better place. And I'm just so sorry that he had to, he was here for a year and he worked his ass off, and now he's gone, not on his own terms either, which is a shame. So yeah, John is a huge loss. You can follow him at John_Carson to keep up with his work. And I just encourage everybody to go share encouraging words to him. Even if you haven't used Twitter in 2 years, if you can remember your password, just go ahead and send him a nice message just saying, sorry, and encouraging him. I think it would mean a lot. If you're somebody in the
wall of hearts.
Yeah, if you're somebody in the industry listening to this, and of openings, please think of him, think of Wes, think of Jeff Akervik, our creative director. So yeah.
John helped me move into my apartment before he had ever met me.
I forgot he was there for that.
It might sound like a flippant thing to say when people are like, "Oh, John, he's amazing. He touched every piece of Game Informer," which is true. But John had never, before we'd even hung out, as humans. John helped me move. And here's the thing about John, because Alex and Alex were also there, but they live 2 minutes away. John does not live close to me. And he drove all the way here, helped me move, drove all the way home, and then later that night drove all the way back to hang out, then drove all the way home. This man drove like 2 to 3 hours round trip.
Yeah.
The first day he ever knew me, just to help me. And then to kick it a little bit at Spy House.
Yeah.
Shout out.
That's a real one. Alex was there. He remembers.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I wouldn't drive 10 minutes to help someone I didn't know move. I wouldn't drive 5 minutes to help someone. John drove 30 minutes 4 times.
Mhm.
That's absurd.
Well,
this
maybe
camera
is also
stop
absurd.
putting your
Yeah.
hand in front of it, it'll focus.
There we go.
We'll figure it out. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's what you need to know about John. If you want to move to Minnesota, hit him up.
He'll help
He'll help you.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
John_Carson.
John
Remember that
helped
on
me
Twitter.
move into this damn apartment so good. I still live here.
Facts. And Blake does not want to live there anymore.
Well, that has little to do with John.
Yeah. correct.
But anyway, yeah.
I
don't mean that flippantly. Like, I
No.
think that honestly speaks to his character that he went so far out of his way that many times in one day to help me.
Yeah.
It was absurd.
John's a gem, 100%. And this feel like, let's call this spade a spade. This feels weird because they're not dead, but we're giving them an obituary. Like, this feels weird, but also like, especially because I know you industry peeps are listening to this show. Like, y'all have reached out, y'all are amazing, right? Like, please, if you have any sort of opening for these 3 awesome human beings, like, seriously, or if it's just like maybe a lead, like something,
Freelance piece, whatever.
yeah.
I'm sure
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
open.
Let Wes make a pirate game. That's all he talks about. Speaking of Wes, I think Jack of all trades also perfectly encapsulates who Wes is too. Like, Alex, I don't think this is hyperbole. Like, sometimes I don't know what we would have done without Wes on the YouTube page. Like, there was a couple like Diablo interviews that Alex and I just couldn't do. Right. And he ended up doing them, doing a great job with the edit, the capture, like the video and all of it. And they were huge videos for us.
Oh, yeah. They're massive, like hundreds of thousands of views.
Right. Yeah. And it wouldn't even matter, though, even if they did.
No, yeah, it doesn't
views,
matter.
You know
But
what
I'm
I mean?
just saying, like,
yeah.
He put in the work and he also got results,
Right.
for us.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of Wes is like, I called him the news hound. Like, that stems from just his uncanny ability to pick good stories, right? And interesting angles. And, I feel like he was just getting started with that. He was doing great work at IGN, right? But like here, it felt like you can kind of tell when someone gets it, right? And like Wes got it, and still does get it. And
it should be said, he's still writing our cover story for us. Our next cover story. I believe that's public knowledge. But yeah.
And he's going to do a fantastic job, and I'm excited to read it. And, Wes, I feel like it's funny, like watching, I said this offline, but it's funny watching the new people now that I've established, right? Like kind of their journey on camera. And like Wes was getting to the point too, where he'd been doing it for a little bit, right? But he'll just throw out those just bonkers takes sometimes about like milk and Mario games and all of it. And it was like, that was an energy that like kept me going and like had me excited to have him on the podcast, while also being very knowledgeable and passionate about the games that he loved. He loves Sea of Thieves, like that kind of stuff. Like, and it's just, he's such an interesting dude. And once again, any staff anywhere is going to be lucky to scoop up Wes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me that kind of embodies what Wes brings to the table. Is just like that energy. It like gets you up in the morning and enthused, and like he's going in like it's a hard situation, but he's excited and ready to go, and it makes you feel excited and ready to go. And the day of the layoffs was unfortunately his birthday, but it was so strange because the Slack channel was so full of just everybody before we knew that he was gone, wishing him happy birthday and having excitement.
I don't think he knew at that point either. I think everybody was just blissfully unaware.
And it was sort of helpful to have that. It was bizarre but it was sort of helpful to have that for the rest of the day, to see just the outpouring of love and excitement that he inspired that day, but also just highlighting how much Game Informer is connected to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in the process of poaching Wes for the magazine team. Like, dude is so talented.
I remember reading his first big feature. It was the metaverse piece, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And just knocked it out of the park, man. It was
Yeah.
such an interesting angle. I think that, you give him an assignment. He's not, when he pitches stories, he's not like trying to go in and take shortcuts and make it the quickest story possible. Like, he's all about digging and putting in the hard work to make it a piece worth reading. And I think that shines through in his writing.
Wes is also one of the more mature writers I've ever worked with, in that he takes edits like a champ. I think, not to say, Wes hadn't had a career before Game Informer, but, it wasn't long. It wasn't, he hadn't been doing it for 15 years. And like him coming in and just taking edits like one of the best writers I've ever worked with, just like the willingness to get better and learn and, really like, really take like edits to heart, always showed to me that like he was really like, he was just going to excel even further than he was just like out the gate, because he was like, he always had, not only was he a great writer and did really great on his features, like he had this complete openness to like finding the key areas where he could improve and where he could do better. And like, that's something that he will carry forward probably for the rest of his life. And it's probably something he does in other areas of his life, which, I would wager makes him a great person in general. But like, he is going to be one of those writers we look at in like 10 years where it's like, yeah, he's the best of the best. And, it comes down to like little things like just always being willing to have an open ear about his own writing. I think that's like mature beyond his years. Yeah. Something you don't always see, to be quite frank. So was always refreshing.
Yeah.
Also, so fun working on Game Enforcer with him.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if, to be fair, I didn't know what we were getting into, and neither did he. But yeah, fun times.
Yeah. And then
I'm sad to see him go, obviously.
Yeah. That is an understatement. And then we can't forget the legendary Jeff Akervik. For those who don't know, man has been responsible for the visual style, the magazine layout, like for 14 years. Like, he was our creative director, and just an invaluable asset from top to bottom. Like, I think I was listening to Min-Max show the other day, and he said he was even on, like, Hanson brought him on GI show at one point. Like, another dude whose passion was just infectious, right? Like, I vividly remember when I first came on as an intern after the first round of layoffs.
You were an intern after that?
After them?
I was the last intern, or it's one of the last interns after the layoffs. Yeah.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. Nice little bookends that we'll get into here in a bit, but and you could feel the sadness in the office, reasonably so, right? But Jeff always did a good job of making me feel included, even as an intern. And then when I got hired on, and it wasn't just that, it was his kindness was one thing, but he also like wasn't afraid to give me feedback, which is invaluable to me. That's the only way I really learn, is if someone's like, hey, this is great, this isn't good, like, that kind of thing. And Jeff was always willing to lend his creative expertise, especially when it came to like thumbnails or like text on screen, and what I mean, like the more visual aspects of my videos and stuff like that. And he pushed me to be better while also being just a great person to talk to. And I ran into him at Timberwolves games and stuff like that, and like we had that shared sports love too, which was really great. And like I feel better for working with all these people, but Jeff especially too, because like he was so excited about video and what we're doing, and so complimentary of the work Alex and I were doing. And
yeah.
But it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't disingenuous. Like it wasn't the Minnesota nice of, yeah, you're doing great. You know, it was like, hey, this is great, but like you guys could improve here, or like what
Yeah,
about
he
this?
would
Like
tell you
that
to
kind
it
of
straight,
stuff.
which I always respected.
Yeah.
I think like coming in even much year after you, when I would say things were not great internally, as part of it just, there were a lot of the layoffs. The first round of layoffs did a number on Game Informer, and coming in, it was like, should I take this job? You know what I mean? And I decided to, and I'm glad I did. But Jeff was like, yeah, he was one of our leaders. Like he's up there with Reiner, Shay, Miller, Mags
Nice.
now, on the production end. Like he was one of our top leaders, and like he's been with us for 14 years. And if you've read one of our magazines in the last 14 years, he helped put it together. Like he helped lead that charge, and he didn't owe me anything coming in. Especially, I mean, we're in two different departments, but he was, like you said, complimentary when I always trusted when he gave me compliments, because
Right.
he'd tell me when stuff wasn't up to snuff, or how I could. He was a good teacher, and even though I only worked with him for like 18 months, I felt like I learned a lot in terms of like branding and graphic design and just how to make things look better. And he was very good about catching little details that a lot of people don't catch, and that's the stuff that makes you really excel. I feel like he was really good at always pointing that out, and I felt like he brought me under his wing along with a lot of the other new hires. Even if we didn't interact on a day-to-day basis, we did still chat often, and I just wish that we would have had an office, because I would have gotten to work with him in person, and that would have been really, really awesome, I think. But yeah.
Jill and I worked pretty close with Jeff, being on the magazine team. And Jeff being the lead of his department, when he would work on one of your features, which is not to say he only designed the cover stories. Obviously he didn't, but like he was definitely a frequent, designer of the cover story. But when he would design one of your features that wasn't a cover story, it was like, oh, they're bringing the big dogs in. This is wild. Like I remember he did my Derek Hughes story and
Oh, yeah.
the Sonic
Beautiful.
issue, and I was like, oh, bosses on this one. And it
Yeah.
carried away, which is not to diminish Lele or Monica, who are both like individually
Incredible.
some of the best artists I've ever seen in my life. But you know what I'm saying? It's like if I don't know, the owner of the Chicago Bulls came down and
It's like an
played a
anime when
quarter.
like the sensei like takes off the gloves and is like, it's time. Like I'm watching Naruto right now. It's when Kakashi gets in the fight.
Yeah,
Or the Hokage. It's like, oh damn, like it's on.
yeah. I don't know. He was like great, and he had a patience that cannot be understated, because I'm probably the most annoying person he's ever worked with, in terms of just like, he would give me a word count and I would always say, so what can I go over? And he would always be patient, and he would always let me go over, even though I know it got under his skin, because he made fun of me for it the other night when we were out at Bauhaus. But like that is honestly like I think really valuable, because he's a graphic designer and obviously he wants his work to show, and he would always be patient and let the words speak, even though maybe it wasn't what he personally wanted. He always wanted what was maybe best for the piece, and if the piece needed more characters, he would find a way to always make that happen. Or if he just had a writer who is bad at being concise, which is me, he would also make concessions to make that happen for them. So God bless him. He also likes the band Hum. Not many people talk about Hum,
No.
but Jeff did,
No.
and that was a common connection him and I had. Hum, go listen to them. Their album "You'd Prefer an Astronaut," unbelievable.
Okay.
Shouts out to Hum, friends of the show.
Jill, any thoughts here?
Yeah. Besides just being an authentic and genuine human being, like you guys nailed it on the head, where if he gave you a compliment, you knew that it meant something, because he wasn't, you know, he- talking out his mouth or anything like that.
I mean, he does talk out his mouth.
Out the side of it, anyway.
Yeah, Jill, actually, you called me out for saying hands in the
I
stew
was
earlier.
gonna
So
bring
what
that
the
up.
hell was that?
I decided not to bring that up when you said you were getting hands earlier, and I thought I was being very kind. But now that you've mentioned it, yeah, Blake said something very silly about hands and stew,
At
people.
least I didn't say Jeff Akervik didn't talk with his mouth. What does that
That's not what I
mean?
said. I said he didn't speak out the side of his mouth. It said saying.
That's
There you
true.
go. Yeah.
Oh, well,
True.
even then,
Anyway,
the saying is side
I'm
of your
trying to say
neck.
nice things about Jeff Akervik over here. But he did have I mean, it was so sad because he was working on one of my pieces for the magazine, which I had not gotten in by the time that they um, did the layoffs. So I won't get to see what that piece would look like with his magic. I'm sure it will turn out lovely and it'll be wonderful, but I was really looking forward to working with him and having that beautiful piece in the magazine. He was a wonderful person just to have on the team, and he was straight up. Like if he was upset about something, he said it. Like he wasn't really about word salading and saying, what the official thing was. He was always straight up and honest and leveled with you. So
Yeah.
he is an amazing talent, and I'm sure whatever he does, he's just gonna absolutely make it better.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what that is. I don't know if he knows what that is, but I'm not at all worried for him, but I am also wishing him the best.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been thinking that I didn't tell Jeff this, and I should have. And I don't know if this is what he wants for his life. I'm just speaking out the side of my mouth.
Guys, it's the side of your neck.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
What?
It's the
All right.
side of your neck.
I'm
What
speaking
about
out
the
my
stew,
hands in
though?
the stew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see Jeff become an art director on a video game series. I think that would
Oh,
be
that would be so cool.
sick. I don't know if that's what he wants for himself. I know he loves editorial design. But I just kept thinking about that. I'm like, he has such an eye for bringing like a cohesive look to something and to make it yeah, we're gonna miss him. It's real sad.
I got a funny story about Jeff.
Hit us.
We were doing the Elden Ring cover story on the 2-page layout. That's like the introduction. When you read a magazine, you get to the big feature. There's usually a 2-page spread that's like, this is the feature you're about to read. We were doing that, and I, for whatever reason, was having trouble reading the text of the 2-page intro spread. And I went to Jeff and I was like, hey man, we gotta change this font. Can't do it. Can't read it. My eyes, I keep looking at it, don't know what this says. He didn't reply. And I noticed the next week the page had gone through the same text. I messaged him. I was like, hey, did you see this? And I was like, yeah, I saw it. I was thinking about it, and I showed it to my daughter, who I don't know how old she is, but we'll say early stages of being able to read. And he said she had no problem reading it. And I was like, well, I'm gonna assume that means I'm incorrect. You're right.
That's hilarious.
And that is the text that magazine shipped with. So
As sure as you're sitting here.
but I'll never forget him being like, I showed my daughter and he told me your age, and I was like, oh, I guess this is a me problem.
That's funny.
It's incredible. We had a community question, and a lot of people in the community have asked this, right? It's like, how can we support these people? You can follow them on Twitter, right? You can, if you're in the industry, you can consider this our recommendation letter for all three of them, right? I would recommend all three of them for any position anywhere, right? But anytime you see another article, another job posting, tag them in it. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. That helps a lot. Just make those connections where you can, because they'll need them. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, but inflation is miserable right now. This is a scary time in life to not have a job. So, I think following them on Twitter, making them aware of job postings. If you have a podcast or something like that, invite them on. Like if you watched them on Kind of Funny or MinMax, wherever, like they're great. They're great on camera. Like, I think your audience will really like getting to know them. It's on nothing but positive comments and like KF's comments section and stuff like that. Like, things like that go a long way, because Van Aken said it the other week. It's like you never know who's following you or who watches or who happens to click on a thumbnail that has them in at any given time. So that's what I don't know. Any other ways you guys can think of?
At least John, I don't know about the rest of them, but John does stream. So check him out on Twitch. I believe it's John Carson Games.
Mm-hmm.
Give him your Twitch Prime subs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
I feel like echoing what you all are saying, just like keep up with their work. Just when someone stops working at an outlet, it doesn't mean they disappear off the face of the planet. Like, the practicalities of capitalism means they are going to have to get jobs, and they might be public facing jobs where you can keep up intimately with what they're doing, especially a writer like John. So just like don't treat them like they're dead once they leave Game Informer.
Despite
Like
the very funeral like moment we're having here, like they're not dead.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I think there's reason to mourn the loss of coworkers, even though they like their physical well-being has been like unimpacted. Of course, their emotional well-being has been impacted quite greatly. But yeah, I mean, just like if John lands, John or Jeff or Wes, anyone wherever they land, just keep up with their work the way you did here. Like, don't let that change because they're not under the GI banner anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and hopefully they'll lead you to other cool, outlets that you might really enjoy by following their work. I do want to plug John. We mentioned John is at John Carson Games on Twitch, right?
Yep.
You can go subscribe, throw him your extra bits, put money in his pocket, right? If you want to go support Wes, he's got a Dragon Ball podcast called Dragon Ball Speak. They've got a Patreon, patreon.com/Dragon Ball Speak.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never knew.
Do I follow him on Twitter?
It'd be such a weird thing to like. Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
John or Wes hasn't posted a ton about it. But
it's there. They have a Patreon. I think the Patreon's pretty new. I think he might have thrown it together when he got laid off. So go support that. Throw him, a few bucks a month. That can go a long way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Wes to explain who Son Goku is to me.
Yeah, and why he's just not called Goku.
Yeah. I don't understand.
It's because the Saiyans refer to him as Son Goku. Vegeta's the Prince of Saiyans, but Bardock is Goku. Is Goku's dad.
So why is his hair blue?
Well, he just goes Super Saiyan. He's just, regular Goku is also Son Goku. It's what the Saiyans refer to him as.
I thought maybe the blue hair indicated something that made him Son.
No.
That's Super Saiyan God form. I think it's
either
the red
SSGS.
That's
SSGS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Son Gohan is just like his Saiyan name.
I appreciate that we're all trying to help educate Blake on this, but we're supposed to be letting Wes do this on his podcast.
Oh yeah, right. Well no, this was the preamble. Now our audience is ready for that show.
We're whetting their appetite for.
Yeah.
Can I say really quick, just quick playlist? Entry grade Son Goku from the Bandai Action Rise series. Great. You can buy these at Target. Can't recommend them.
Target Boutique.
Target has some really good model kits. I got that one there and the Demon Slayer Tanjiro or whatever. I'm not really sure what his name is. Bought them both there. Very good little selection, but don't go to their toy aisle. Go to the collectibles aisle, which is usually near the DVDs and books.
I bought my brother one year for Christmas a My Hero Academia statue from Target.
They have all kinds.
Awesome. All Might, I think. Yeah.
Some of the Targets are better than others. It doesn't seem to be like universal stock, but the one near me in St. Louis Park, not to dox myself, but I'm moving soon. Whatever. Also, like go to that Target. I guess maybe you'll see me. They have a great selection. The one right outside Midtown, though, pretty mid. If it's in the name.
trying to figure out how we got here.
Yeah.
How did we end up raiding Targets?
Who knows?
It's a local business. They're from Minnesota.
Shout out to the local business Target. Indie company, really,
Yeah, struggling.
Really
If there was
needs
one
our
thing
support.
I don't like so far about the Action Rise series or the Figure Rise series is they don't stand very well, but you can't use the action based stands with them. I guess you could use the pincers on them, but that I don't know. Anyway, that they fall a lot, which bums me out.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
They look
You
great.
need to make a Nimbus cloud for Goku.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh, that's really good. That's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, but you know what? The like regular Gunplas, they all have like little holes in them and whatnot. You can put because the pincers look so stupid. It's like I'm not doing that. I want to.
Why
use
don't
the
you
holes
get some
or
super
something.
glue?
I guess I could. I mean, Goku has this stand on his foot, but it doesn't really work so
It's like a
well.
carrot
See,
just falling
Take
off.
that
Yeah.
off and put him on a Nimbus cloud with super glue.
but Tanjiro, he has nothing. He's just freewheeling out here.
I'm gonna
Please,
give you 10 more.
Alex,
I'm gonna
save
give you
us.
10 more seconds of this.
Okay.
9,
Can I show my Ava Unit 0? Check this
Go
out. I
5
just built
seconds.
it.
Yeah.
Look at
I
my
just
Kale
built it.
statue from League
Look.
of Legends.
Look,
5,
pretty
4,
cool.
3,
I was
2,
doing it.
This is the
1.
real grade series.
Jeff, Wes, John, we love y'all so much. We appreciate every second that you were with us at GI, and we are all better for working with you. So we appreciate y'all so much.
But the hits keep coming.
But the hits keep coming. I've been dreading this for a minute, but we're gonna get into it. So those three. Start this. I am leaving Game Informer after I know, right? I'm surprised.
What?
After almost 3 years here, this is my last show. I know people who follow me on Twitter know. I know people who follow me or who are in our Discord know. But if you just listen to the podcast, so my last show as host. The Alex and Alex era is coming to an end here. But just like the other three who we mentioned aren't dying, like Game Informer's not dying either. The podcast isn't dying either. And
You're not dying.
I'm not dying. Correct. I have an exciting new opportunity I can't talk about yet. You know how it goes in games industry, right? But I guess what I can say about it is this is the hardest professional thing I've ever had to do. When I came here, I was at an ad agency that I was, happy to leave, even though I was going to be an intern and losing my health insurance and that kind of stuff. Like that was kind of a no-brainer because this was the dream, right? Leaving in my mind earlier than I wanted to. I very clearly remember getting there and I was like, I'm gonna have a Hanson run, like 9 years, like 10 years. I want to be here a decade. Like I remember thinking to myself, I want to be here I'm not gonna look for another job for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then situations change, priorities change, and there's just some stuff that I couldn't ignore. There was an offer that I couldn't ignore, and it's something I've languished with. This isn't a response to the layoffs. I saw a couple of people on Reddit wonder that. I've been doing a lot of soul searching over the last month or two, and like this is a result of that, not what's happened within the last week. So there's moments in life where it's like I am so scared of this opportunity, but that tells me I need to do something about it, and that's just what this is. You know what I mean? Like that's all there is to it. It's a new opportunity for my family and I, my fiance and I should say. Like, I'm not going to say where, but we're literally like next week, like moving across the country. Like this apartment's not going to be ours here in a couple of weeks. Like my whole life is changing with something like this. And, as much as like the layoff stuff hasn't been fun, like I've needed a new adventure too. Like Minneapolis is my home and I love it so much, but like I've needed to get out. COVID has left its scars, right? The unnecessary actions of a certain police department have left its scars here. You know what I mean? It's just been, the last couple of years have been a lot. And I'm someone who needs new things to do, right? And new experiences. And this opportunity that I'm taking is the very definition of that, and a chance to start fresh and do something that I am incredibly excited for. And I mean, like, it's not I don't think I'm ruining anything or getting myself in trouble by saying I'm still editing, right? Like, and I'm going to be chasing that passion, right? Of editing video. And I'm excited to see where that takes me, because it is a chance to really grow in that field and do something really great. And I cannot wait for that. But I am, just know, anyone listening, like, this is the, like I said, this is the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do in my adult life when it comes to my career, because like this community has given me so much. You, who's on this podcast panel with me, have given me so much, and Reiner, Shay, like the entire leadership, like Andy Mack, Dan Tack, like everyone, Reeves, like I just have so many people to be thankful for. So just know this is, as much as it's hard, I understand, to see another GI person go out the door. Like, it's really hard for me too.
Yeah.
I just feel like I just word vomited everywhere. So I apologize.
No.
But
we're really gonna miss you, dude. We've known for a while. You know, it's I feel like I'm losing my other half, you know, my other video. The Council of Alex's is no more. It's vanquished for now.
Under this current banner, right?
Yeah, under this current banner. But yeah, I just want to thank you for fighting for me. I said it on Twitter. I'll say it here. I wouldn't have a job without you. You know, you told, I wasn't gonna apply, but you literally messaged me. You're like, hey, you should apply. I was like, man, maybe I will. But I had lost faith in actually being a part of the industry at that point. I was like, there's no way, like, I'm gonna get a job. Like, it's just so hard. You have to be so lucky. And I just feel like I'm not the right candidate to make that happen. And you messaged me, and it literally changed my life. And yeah, I wouldn't have any of this without you. And there's so many parts of my life that are so much better because of that message you sent me. My personal life is just so enriched. I love my coworkers. I've never had that feeling. No, I mean, some like old coworkers might be listening to this. Shout out to you, but like everybody else, I just didn't have a big connection with. But like literally, like I feel like I was in. I say this with awareness that we are a workplace, we are a corporation, and I don't let this influence, you know, my career per se, but it does feel like a family here. And I don't say that, like, I feel like we all mean that, but I know that toxic workplaces use that to manipulate people, but in the sense of like camaraderie and
we're really close friends.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. And I've had other companies in the past that called themselves, you know, a family, and I'm like, that's total BS. Like, nobody here cares about the other people. Like, it's just a tactic to like get you to work more than what you're paid for. But I do think of Game Informer as a family, and when somebody comes, it's really exciting. You get to, like, you know, show them the ropes and welcome them, and when they leave, you know, you mourn their departure, but at the same time you're really excited for what they get to do because you are invested in their life and you want to see them succeed. And like their wins are a reflection of their hard work, but also, you know, where they came up at, you know, and it's just like really cool to play a small part in your story. And I just want to thank you for playing such a huge part in mine. You know, like I said, wouldn't have a job without you. You fought for me from the beginning of the hiring process through to your final day tomorrow. Or what's today? For your final day on Friday. You had my back. I'd like to think I had yours, and it was just a really awesome relationship that I had not experienced in a workplace before now. I mean, like, so I'm gonna miss you.
That's really, really nice. But it is disingenuous to say, like, you know, you are such a effervescent talent that like you would have landed if you kept going. Like, I mean, and the reason I reached out because it was the Fortnite video that you did. about your family and how it connected them. And I was like, I know in this moment I need to scoop him up at GI. Otherwise someone else will, and it will just be a missed opportunity for us, because like you literally like I was struggling so hard after Leo left, right? Because it was just me doing video reviews, the podcast, like NGTs, the whole thing, right? And I needed someone who understood video on a deeper level, right? Like I loved the idea of training someone, right? But I was like, in this moment, I was like, with the console launches coming up too, and our covers, I was like, we need someone
such a wild time to come into into this job.
You came in and it was literally like, here's this Spider-Man video that they've all been doing like 100K, almost a milli plus. And oh, by the way, we also have 2 consoles coming out and a whole review season. Good luck. But like, we did it. We kicked ass when we did it too. Like those videos were great. And I literally like, I wouldn't be here today without you. You know what I mean? Like doing this podcast with you has been an absolute joy, and this era has been so much fun. And I love working with Leo, right? In the small time I got to work with Hanson, I loved that too, but it's just like this felt like the first time we could actually like create something, and even that feels like incomplete. Like I've thought a lot about that. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that I wanted to do that we didn't get to do.
We had a lot of plans. And some of that stuff is still in the works, but it'll be different, you know?
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I can't. I literally couldn't do this job without you, and very, very thankful that we got to do all this together. So
yeah,
I appreciate you too, man.
It flew by.
I literally don't even know what time is anymore. Like it's like it's wild to me that I've been here already 3 years. Like, you know, almost 3 years, I should say.
Yeah, I'm almost 2 years.
Yeah.
October for me and November for you, right?
Yeah. Or no, September. So I started as an intern.
Oh yeah, you're right.
September 11th. And I always felt weird about commemorating my anniversary there. So yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before I'd ever met Alex Stadnik, he helped me move into this apartment. Look, what can you say? I mean, oh my God. I mean, I can't wait to see what you do at Game Query. That's where you're going next.
Dude, like, he's just gonna be mad at me. Like, you can't say that.
That's actually funny. That was the way you and I started talking before I even applied to this job.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was a big fan of Game Informer, obviously, having grown up with the magazine and been an intern. And I remember when you came on, you were on replays, which I watched religiously back then. I remember you showing up on those. Maybe you were an intern. I can't quite remember. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Wasn't a fan. I'll be honest with you. And this is what happened. This is what happened, Alex. This is what happened, because I'm just a curmudgeon. I remember a few weeks into you being on replay, I was like, this Alex dude's pretty sick. Like, I completely changed course. And I think it was shortly after that I reached out to you and we started talking on Twitter.
Do you remember the episode?
I don't. I remember maybe like a Max Payne episode you were on, and a Batman Arkham one I know you were on.
Like, dope.
Yeah. Like I remember definitely watching them in my parents' basement because I'd moved back in during like COVID time. So it was right around then that I was watching a ton of replay. Anyway, and I remember the first few episodes you were on, like really reversing course on my initial impressions to be like, this is the sorry, that's your last episode. I'm gonna make you work for it. I remember really flipping around and being like, this dude rules, and then started messaging you on Twitter and talking to you. And I have obviously in my time here worked a lot closer with Van Aken, which I have loved. Van Aken and me, I think, are a dynamic duo, but you know, kind of just from one step removed, watching everything you do for Game Informer. This place basically runs on a day-to-day because of you. Because of you and VA, I should say. But like you have been kind of one of the cornerstones holding this operation together. Watching you and Alex work together has been pretty awesome. I'm having not worked with Hanson or Leo or Hanson and Wade or Jason A. Striker, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. I could not imagine a better team of video editors, at least for yourselves, than yourselves. Granted, I wasn't in every meeting, but I'd hang out sometimes while you all were doing your video stuff at Spy House and whatnot. And like, it never seemed like there was anything coming from you two other than just like, if not excitement, at least the drive and passion to do it. Even when you were doing videos, maybe you weren't so stoked you had to do.
Right.
You were like, you were always pulling your weight. And like, personally, you have been one of the cornerstones of my life this past year. You and VA were, one of the people who went way out of your way to make sure I felt comfortable in a new city. And the only thing I will not miss about you is your stupid joke about my dog being yours. I never liked that joke.
It was nice that you let Blake have Reagan for this video.
I thought it would be fitting, since I'm moving away, if Blake could see her one more time,
And I think it's so funny that one of the last things you're going to do in the city you were born and raised in was go see Larry Clark's seminal film Kids. It's hilarious to me.
If that doesn't tell you how close we are, I don't know what can. I don't know like what I could convey to you that would express otherwise.
One of the last things you get, one of your last memories of being a Minnesota resident, seeing a movie you almost assuredly will not enjoy.
About that, a museum.
Yeah.
Specifically, that's like intimately about a city you don't live in.
Yeah.
So I think that's just great. But godly, I have privately been feeling the weight of not having you down the street from me. So much so that I'm leaving Uptown and moving to Merriam Park. I can't live here without you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's my piece. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. No, you said it. Cutting onions over here.
I'm very proud of you for getting through so much of that and not just being waterworks. I was waiting for it. I thought for a second there you were gonna snap, but you're holding it together. Yeah. I also thought that you were gonna turn to Van Aken and tell him that actually you weren't that close of friends. I was like, wow, this is getting serious. And I wish so much that I had more time with you. So, like, y'all don't know this, most of you who are watching, but like, Stadnik is just a wonderful human being. Like, he starts every message with, "Hey, friend." And like, I can't imagine that working for anybody except for him, because he means it when he says, like, he just wants to remind you that you are close to him and that he cares about you, even if he's just asking for whether or not that video clip came in. Like, the first thing he wants to do is make sure that you're cared about. And that's basically like his legacy in my mind. I came in and it was scary joining Game Informer, and like, he didn't know me, I didn't know him, and we've never met in person. I hope that changes soon. And he reached out and was like, "Hey, I want to make sure you're okay." Like, it can be overwhelming, it can be scary to join a team like this. And like, he had no reason to do that. He just decided to make sure I was okay. And like, that's not normal. That's not a common thing that happens, and it really does feel like a lot of the reason this place feels a lot like a family is because of that kind of love. And we're gonna miss you. And so excited that you're doing amazing things. Like, do not think for a second that we want you to stay. Like, we would love to have
Get
you.
out of here.
Go away.
Yeah.
We're gonna put so many more hands into stews, okay? But we want you to do what makes you the happiest, and I really hope that this is it.
And I wish that was here, but life is life, and we continue to move on, and like that's something. It's like I've thought a lot about like what's my legacy here, like after like Ben and Leo and stuff like that, and it's like I was just like, because I wasn't an idiot, like I knew what I was walking into, right? But I was like, if I just like try to uplift as many people as I can, like then I'll have done a good job. And I don't know if I did. I feel like sometimes I come off corny or like whatever, but like I don't know. I just like I worked my ass off, and like for 3 years I tried to like prove that we're one of the best channels, one of the best places on the internet for games, and I think I did that to a certain extent, but I just yeah, like you got me on that. Like I just wish there was more time. So um I was wondering if someone was gonna get me, and
Gotcha.
um
And you
yeah.
did it.
You ready to talk about Bayonetta 3?
I forgot we were doing that. Yeah, let's get off me for a minute, please.
I'll take a quick break.
Yeah. We're good. Everything's fine. Everything is totally fine. Yeah, let's take a quick break and let's talk about Bayonetta.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Game Informer Show. We've got some news to go over, and we've got a panel of people that seems very fitting. Bayonetta 3, a release date has been announced with an over-the-top trailer. It was written up by Jason Guisao, the whole me over at GameInformer.com/news. During last September's Nintendo Direct, Bayonetta's reemergence shocked fans with a titular witch dodging, transforming, and shooting her way through huge monstrosities. We knew that the action romp would come exclusively to Switch this year, but today Nintendo announced an October 28th release date with a big trailer. I'm not going to read through all of it. The story is linked in the show notes if you want to see the trailer and look at a couple screenshots. But Blake, you are the biggest Bayonetta fan I know. Actually, I think Ty over at Uppercut is a very big fan as well. But
fair.
You are a massive fan. How you feeling? Tell us what's going on.
You know how long ago Bayonetta 3 was announced?
No.
I do. I'd never played Bayonetta before. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
I first played Bayonetta after Bayonetta 3 was announced. No, this is great. Been waiting forever. The Nintendo announces all these stupid games. Sucky games like Breath of the Wild 2. Like Breath of the Wild 2 and whatnot. It's like, who cares? Like, game. Where's Bayonetta? Where's my lady? Where's my tall, sexy lady? My witch. This is great. This is Platinum's, obviously. Platinum, I think, one of the best to ever do it, despite all the bad games they've also made. It's great to see their flagship come back. I think Bayonetta is like, it's a gem in the game industry. Just a game that is like, wants to be in all ways, narratively, humorously, mechanically, just wants to be fun. And I'll be honest with you, I think most games don't want to do that across the board. Most games want to be fun to play, but like just miserable to get through narratively or something, This comes out the same day as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, a game I'm going to play the heck out of. Probably going to be fun as all get out. And you're going to play through that story and be like, wow, that's a lot of torture I was just subjected to. Bayonetta's like, what if you were a big, tall witch who gets naked a lot and has guns on her feet? And it's like, yep, sign me up, brother. And they're like, hey, what if it was also like literally the best a video game has ever felt? And you're like, damn, that's kind of the cherry on top of this whole Sunday, if you ask me. So this is great news. Then what more can you say? I don't know. It's awesome. I'm glad I get to play it this year. I've been tweeting all kinds of wild stuff. Every time they announce a Nintendo Direct, I log into my secret Twitter account and say something like, if they don't announce Bayonetta, I'm gonna punch Mario in the face. Just real things that could get me sued or fired from my job. Then now I don't have to do that anymore. I know when it's coming. October 23rd, 28th. And in an unprecedented move, Game Informer has already awarded Bayonetta 3 a 10 out of 10 score.
Wow.
That's right. And sorry, Dan Tack, this is going to be the greatest game ever made.
Yeah, so it'll get second after Tunic.
Sorry, I'm joking, Tack. Do you think Tack's listening?
I'm not.
Tack puts questions in. Tack could be listening. Shout out to
Yeah.
Tack.
Might be listening.
I couldn't be more excited. This has been a heck of a, it's been a heck of a 2 years for Blake. Last year we had a Death Stranding, to like 17 different Resident Evil games. By 17, I mean 2. This year, Stray and Neon White are coming out and whatnot. And then finally, Bayonetta. What a time to be a little man named Blake.
Did you think it was going to come this year? Did you have any faith?
I mean, I feel like I didn't think one way or the other. Honestly, I was just like, they're gonna announce it when they announce it. I wish it would hurry up, but it's not gonna hurry up, I guess. And then they just like launched it today. I was surprised, actually. I woke up and had multiple texts and people were like, Bayonetta release date. One from VA, my good friend, who wanted to make sure I saw it. So I appreciate that. Also realized I forgot to reply. So sorry about that.
You're fine. I forgot I sent it.
Yeah,
I kind of woke up in a fugue state and saw it and was like, I'll send to Blake.
Yeah.
I fell back asleep.
I was asleep when you sent it to me. But yeah, it was definitely a surprise for me, but it was a good surprise, I would say. I didn't wake up. I didn't wake up and I was like, oh, darn. Bayonetta 3 has a release date. That sucks. I woke up. I was like, oh, yeah, naked witch time.
Time to get out of bed. You had a pep in your step.
Yeah, I took Reagan outside. She's peeing and pooping. And I was like, that's right, Reagan. You're peeing with a special step today. Bayonetta 3 got a release date. Reagan's like, I can't wait. You're going to sit and not pay attention to me for 12 hours while you play that game. It's like, yeah, probably.
I'm excited for people. I've never played a Bayonetta game, but I hear great things. And I plan to rectify that soon. I assume I need to play 1 and 2, right? Like the story is... No. Your face says everything.
The stories, here's the thing about the Bayonetta stories. They're fun to watch the cutscenes. The story is like next level dribble.
Is it like Kingdom Hearts adjacent?
Well, it's self-aware in a way.
Just in case Kim's listening to this or Dan.
Sorry, Kim. Wear earmuffs for a second. It's self-aware in a way Kingdom Hearts will just never be. It like knows it's dumb, knows it's goofy, and that's kind of the charm of it.
No, Goofy's in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
right. That's right. Yeah, it knows it's Donald. It knows it's Sora. And like the whole thing about those stylish action games is like you replay them, right, to get better scores and whatnot, and like instant skip the story every time after the first playthrough. Like I'll sit through the story, think it's fun, think it's charming, but like in an idiotic way, and then every time I play after that, I'm not watching a millisecond of story. It's just like, get me through this. I'm replaying Bayonetta 1 right now, and I can't hit skip quick enough on those cutscenes. Can't wait.
Cool. Jill, what do you think about Bayonetta? You like Bayonetta? Are you a Bayonetta fan?
I'm not a Bayonetta etta. I don't know what you would call the fandom of Bayonetta, but I am not sort of into the stylish action story. Isn't that important sort of games? But I know that Blake is so excited that when I saw this, I was like, yeah, Blake. So that's great. Just in general, for like the game industry to have games that you personally might not be excited about, but you know someone who absolutely loves it, and to have that kind of diversity is great. So I am so happy for you, Blake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I drop a hot take on y'all that you probably will fly over your head, but the people at home, I don't know how they're gonna feel about this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2, so mid compared to Bayonetta 1. So I'm really hoping Bayonetta 3 can match Bayonetta 1.
I'm sensing a trend with you.
Wow.
The sequels just don't do it for you like the OG games do.
That's not true. Uncharted 2 is like my favorite one.
Okay. All right.
No, actually, Uncharted Lost Legacy is the best of them, but
okay. Because I hear all this about Gravity Rush 1 and 2. I'm hearing this about Bayonetta.
Sure, yeah.
There's a trend here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gravity Rush 2 sucks.
What do you think about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2?
better than 1. 1 is unplayable by modern standards, man. I like, whew. But you know what? To your point, Tony Hawk's Underground 2 is awful. But Tony Hawk's Underground 1, the single greatest piece of art ever made by human beings?
Question mark? I think.
I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm hoping Bayonetta 3 can stand toe to toe with Bayonetta 1 because I don't think it'd be too hard to best Bayonetta 2. The game's pretty mid. I never replay it, but Bayonetta 1 I'm constantly replaying all the time. Yeah.
Word.
Great game.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
She's a tall witch with guns on her shoes. It doesn't get better.
Are the guns her hair?
No.
What's with the hair? Yeah.
No, her hair is her weapon. So she has guns, and they just like
regular guns
on her shoes.
I mean, they're like magic.
Are they on her shoes, or are they her shoes?
Well, you can have guns in your hands and on your shoes because you can have different loadouts.
Because I would buy a shoe that was actually a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, her heels are her heels.
Projectiles of
Blake
some
is
sort.
like trying to show his foot for the audio
The
listeners
heels
here.
are like
Which
the,
has no
the
heel
muzzle
on it.
of the gun, and then her hair is also a weapon. But
Wait,
she
the
can
heel
also
is the muzzle?
yeah, like imagine high heels.
Do you have to pull the trigger, or
No,
is there
no,
some
no,
sort of
it's
no
mental.
trigger situation?
You
What are the
kick-
practical uses of?
You
Her
press-
big toe pulls the trigger inside.
No,
the
you
shoe.
press. Oh, I don't know how she
Draw
does
me
it.
a design picture here.
You could just Google Bayonetta and you can see. But her hair is also her clothes, which she can use to attack, like weave hair attacks, and she can use it to make like monsters out of, which makes her a little naked. Can't get past that fact. But like her hair is her weapons, but it's not the guns. Those are two separate things entirely. Okay. But if you've ever seen like the big creatures in Bayonetta that come out with her, she'll be fighting aside like a big like wolf or dog looking thing, a crunch on a boss. That is actually her hair. Oh. Which is why you frequently see in gameplay pictures of Bayonetta her naked, is because she has removed her clothes to use as a weapon, which is also her hair.
Okay.
Wow.
So
well,
anyway.
I just found a Google search that was NSFW. Brought me back to my middle school days real quick. Wow.
For Bayonetta.
Don't search
color
that.
me surprised.
Yeah.
But
I'm eager to check it out, or at least watch other people have fun with it. I know it's been in the works for a while, and people are hungry.
Yeah.
New Bayonetta.
If I don't see Blake stream this at some point, I'll be real disappointed.
I'll stream it. I might mess around. I'll tell you
Dude, what if you stream Bayonetta 1 and 2?
I was just about to say I might mess around this week and stream the first Bayonetta for Game Informer.
Game Informer?
I'm not going to stream number 2 though, because I don't know how to hook up a Switch and all that. It's a lot of work.
Twitch.tv/Game Informer.
Tell you, yeah.
Put your notifications on.
Can I be honest with you, Alex Van Aken? Oh, yeah. There's the pupper.
Oh my god!
I was wondering when Reagan was going to make her appearance. She's
What's up,
so
Alex?
good. Blake has placed a little, like, I don't know if he incepted me, put a little brainworm up in my head, something like that. Blake and I agree on some games, some not. I think that's why we like each other. It's a little back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
We think the original God of War's the best one.
Well, be careful. You keep talking out of your mouth again. And I say to myself,
right out of it.
He's talking about these games here left and right. Earlier this year, he's talking about Ghostwire this and Neon White that, and I'm like, I don't know if it's for me. And then I played Neon White. And I was like, maybe top 3 game this year. Maybe one of my all-time favorite games of all time. Like maybe there it is. Okay. I was getting it. I'm working it. This is I got to get the people going here. One of my favorite games ever.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, should I play Bayonetta? Is Blake on to something with his gaming taste? And God is my witness. Bayonetta is sitting on my Steam Deck right now, getting just ready. I'm getting ready.
Marinating.
Exactly.
Here's the thing you gotta know about me. I only like good games.
I don't know. I think that might be demonstrably untrue. Because you yourself have said that this is a bad game, but I love it.
Name 6 examples, Jill.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Resident Evil.
Kane and Lynch 2.
Kane and Lynch 2 is one of the best games ever made. That's what I'm going to stream. I actually don't know if we should stream that one. That is maybe one of the most adult games I've ever played in my life. It's one of the only games I feel like I played. Games that aren't like hatred or whatever. Kane and Lynch 2, I feel like one of the only games I've ever played where I was like, this is something else. But man, what a game. I tell you what, we need to go retroactively give that game a higher. I'm going to re-review that for us. Sorry, Reiner. And delete his review from the
What do you give it?
I don't know, like a 7 or something.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So, yeah, it sounds right, but it's wrong.
I wouldn't know. I never played it. But
what did we get Bayonetta?
I think it's no lower than 8. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think just to make Blake happy, it's like, no, it's a 10. It's a 10. No one checked that.
When you Google Game Informer Bayonetta, an article pops up that says Bayonetta is the best playing game ever made.
Who wrote that?
Was that by you?
I wrote that. We gave it a Joe Juba on December 22nd, 2009. Gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
there you
go. When you Google this, multiple things by Blake Hester pop up.
Unsurprisingly.
Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is cool? Listener emails, Alex.
Yes, they are. I'm realizing now we haven't gotten to the part about you talking about the future. Do you want to save that for next episode, or do you want to talk about it at the end of this episode?
Let's talk about it at the end.
Okay, cool. So
that way I can figure out what I'm going to say.
There we go. Yeah, I'll put a timestamp. I'll put a timestamp for those wondering. Right, we do have a lot of future plans, and there's some special stuff coming down the pipe.
Also, just real quick, I know in housekeeping we do social media stuff, and with this being your last episode, I want to make sure people that are here right now know to follow you at Stadnik76, and they can go and keep up with your adventures, and you'll eventually tell people where you're going.
Yes,
I go follow you on Twitter. That's really the only social media you use, right? Twitter.
Yeah, I
may. Healthy.
Well, definitely not. I'm obsessive about Twitter. Instagram, I've finally re-downloaded, but I haven't posted anything since like December of last year. So I may, with my new adventure, maybe pictures will come with that. You never know. Stay tuned. Same handle though.
Okay. Yeah. At Stadnik76. Follow Jill at Finruin, FINRUIN. Follow Blake at Radmure, RADMURE. And you can follow me at It's Van Aken. Cool.
We did it.
Listener. Oh, wait. I just wanted to say real quick. Follow the people that also got laid off. I know we plugged them a bunch earlier, but at Jeff Ackervick, at LeBlanc Wes, at John_Carson. Those are all of their social media handles. Go make sure to follow them and give them some support because I know they need it.
Amen. I say to you. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes here. Listener emails. This is the part of the show, one of my favorites, where we get to talk with you, the community. You write in to podcast@GameInformer.com. Let us know what you want us to talk about. You know, I almost said memes. That's a new one. Something new pops up every week on the show. We've been hosting it for almost a year, and something new comes every time. But send us your hopes, dreams, questions, comments, concerns, dreams, nightmares, dreams twice, and we'll read them on the show, maybe. And here we are again today. You can send those into podcast@GameInformer.com or Alex Van Aken. How else can they send questions?
Subscribing on Twitch. That'll get you access to our Discord. Once you're in, you can go to the GI Show channel and just put your question in there, and we will add it to the tally. We'll add it to the roster of questions we have.
Yeah. Like a lot of people did this week. I also took questions from Twitter because I was like, it's my last show. I'm going to mess around.
I think we should do that more often.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Another thing I wish we would have done more of. But anyways, this is from Kyle Silva over on Twitter. And Kyle says, what is Alex Van Aken's best trait as a co-host that makes up for something you might be lacking? And that's a good question. I liked this question. Nothing. Incorrect. I think you are a great foil to my broy let's go energy when I get like really hyped. You know what I mean? You can like bring it down a little bit and like ground it. And I think that's why we worked well. And it's like, you still get excited for stuff too. Like go back and watch some of those those reaction streams we've done to like all the digital directs and stuff like that. Like Van Aken knows how to like get hyped, right? But I think Alex has that nice like, okay, yeah, this is exciting, but like, what about this? Or like, have we thought about that? And I think it's paired well with me, who's like, I just love video games, you know, like that kind of thing. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So I'm boring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I was getting at. So.
And I think that I like your positivity, Alex. I think you remind me of me when I was before I was laid off at one of my old jobs. I feel like that changed me. I used to be positive. I want to be positive.
You are still positive. Like
I play it up for fun, but yeah, I think I could learn from you in that regard.
And I'm not saying you're Oscar the Grouch. Like, let's be clear here. I was saying this in a good way too. You know what I mean? Like, I think that
we heard what you said.
Yeah, it can never be taken back. I almost burped again. Jeez, can't keep drinking this LaCroix. But no, I just think our dynamic worked so well in that way. You know. So
I liked our dynamic too.
Yeah, I don't know either of you want to chime in here on that or not. Talk about my flaws, that kind of thing. You know.
Alex Van Aken does a good job making sure to read all the Twitter handles every episode. Never heard you.
I don't even have to look at the paper anymore. I know everybody on staff. I know everybody's handles.
And Van Aken does a very good job of remembering my Twitter handle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
Very good.
Yes, he
Fantastic job. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's less contrasting, but it always seemed like you guys like could sort of finish each other's sentences. Like you knew what thoughts. Yeah. You knew what thoughts were going on in each other's heads and could really play off of that between the two of you just so well.
Yeah. I think that shone the brightest. If you're a fan of the show but only audio, go one of these days, go over to YouTube and look at our SGF podcasts. Like, I feel like that is truly where like we hit our stride. Cause right, it was that thing where it's like, we were finally in the room together and we were like, you know, we were ripping on each other, but also like having fun. Like, it's just the energy was so perfect. And those are easily some of my favorite podcasts we've ever done. So
definitely.
Yeah. Next one, Philly Eat Steak over on Twitter. And Philly says, what is something you brought to the table at GI that you most want to continue without you? I think some of the, I think what I was good at is there was a lot of what makes GI great already there that I helped accentuate, like the love and passion of games, right? Just because I leave, that's not going anywhere, right? Everyone's passionate about games. You know, I'm not the only, like everyone here works their ass off, right? Like that's not exclusive to me. And I think those were a couple of my defining traits, was the passion and the hard work, right? Like that's going to stay, right? I don't know, just like I think one of the things I'm most proud of is bringing Van Aken in and finding people who are like very talented at video, right? Because I think one of the things that I was really, especially when we were hiring Van Aken, I hammered home was like, we have some of the best writers in the industry. Let's show people that, and that we have some of the best video in the industry. And by hiring Van Aken, we accomplished that, right? Someone who has a knack and knows for talent or for quality, right? A lot of the great changes you've seen on the channel, whether it's the logo, the better sounding podcast, like that's all VA, right? And I know that's not going to go anywhere because he's more of a stickler for quality than I think I am. So, you know, YouTube page is going to be in a fantastic spot under his watch, and I'm excited for him to talk about that a little bit more towards the end of the show. So, yeah. Next one. And everyone can answer this one. Charles B. Davis over on Twitter says, any advice for a humble group of friends starting up a new podcast? You the man, Stadnik. Keep on trucking. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it.
I got it.
Hit me.
Do like literally anything different.
Yeah.
Like there's so many podcasts, not just about video games, that like pop up and it's like the same formula that, I don't know, the Bombcast was doing in like 2010. And it's like, please do something different. Because if you're making a podcast, you're doing it because you want to do it with your friends and have a good time, blah, 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 blah. But you're really doing it to be heard. And nobody's going to listen if you're doing the same thing. And I know that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow because like a formula works because it's a formula and people use it, but like nobody's going to listen if you're doing the same thing, especially compared to the thousands of other podcasts out there with established listener bases. Like even if it's one thing, like one thing in a podcast that's different from another podcast, that's fine. One I think of recently, sorry to like spearhead this as someone who doesn't have a podcast.
You did though.
True. The Fire Escape podcast that Dan Reichert, Mary Kish, and Mike Mahardy host. There is a million podcasts that goes through what they're playing, and then they answer some emails at the end. The fact that they just have jokes and comedy throughout it makes it my go-to video game podcast. It's just that one different thing makes a world of difference.
Right. And to build off that though, like find your voice though too. Like, you know, I'm very aware I'm not as funny as Dan Reichert, Mary Kish, and Mahardy. You know, like it's just the facts of life, right? But so like don't try to be someone you're not. And also when you're developing it, like I think perspective's important too, right? If you're just like, nah, like I do want this to be unlocked Games Daily GI show, like that's fine. Like there's consequences with that, right? Like Blake outlined too, right? But it's like, okay, if you're gonna do that, make sure you're learning on the way. Like learn how to efficiently edit a podcast, right? Like, you know, there's a million ways to do it. There are more efficient ways. So like watch YouTube videos on how to best learn how to edit, you know, find like boost your quality that way and make sure you're learning something. Cause if it's just something you want to mess around with, great. But like you can put that on a resume. That's how I got here. Was like, you know, I was a solid writer, right? But also Reeves and Cork looked at the fact that I've spearheaded 2 podcasts on my own. You know what I mean? Like, and they didn't sound like complete dog. So,
Where they at?
They're lost.
You can find them. I have found them.
Have you found them still? I was gonna say most of them are lost to me not paying for SoundCloud anymore. But
I haven't checked in a while.
A lot of good podcasts have died that way
in the SoundCloud graveyard. Yeah, because I'm just not spending $12 for you to hear my bad takes about Spider-Man: No Way Home. It's not gonna happen. You know.
That's right.
My advice as somebody who had a podcast one point in time for like 5 years. Don't burn out. Don't take yourself too seriously. I remember one time I had my first guest ever on, and they ended up being a awful person years later. But I had them on, and they were kind of like, I viewed them as somebody important, and they were popular, and I was like, okay, I need to get them on my show. A lot's riding on this. And I had them on the show. And I get off the show, they leave the call, I look, and my audio stopped recording 2 minutes in. And this is the first guest I'd ever had on my show.
No.
It was like on social media. And I was like, this is the end. Like, oh my God. So self-serious. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And I made one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, and because I gave it so much power. But I sat there on a Sunday afternoon. I had everybody else's audio but mine. And I would listen to what they said. And then I would try to remember what I said before that. And I would record my part in segments.
No.
So if you were like, I'm doing good, I would go back and I was like, hey, man, how are you? And I'd record that part.
No.
I spent 10 hours on a Sunday. And nobody knew. I did it well. Nobody knew that I had ever done that. Nobody knew until I said I'd done it, because I had made it sound so convincing. But it was, never do that.
No.
Never say sorry, the recording got messed up. It's not that big of a deal. Never put your podcast over. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed that I ever did that. Yeah. And I used to be proud of it because I'm like, oh, look at my work ethic.
Right. Yeah.
Just so stupid that I gave it that much weight in my life. I think I was like 15 episodes in. Like, don't be too self-serious. Have fun with it. When things mess up, because they will, just, who cares, man? You're going to have, I feel like when you're first starting out, volume is what you're really gonna be focused on volume and just like scattershot it. Figure out what you like to do. If you don't have fun, if you don't like podcasting, stop. Like, who cares?
Right.
Like, I'm also gonna say this might be a bitter pill to swallow. I think if you are wanting to get into the industry on the media side, do something other than podcasting. I don't think people get hired. I know Alex said he got hired for his podcasting skills, but he got hired because of his video skills, and he could also write, and he happened to be able to podcast.
Right.
And as somebody who spent I was propping myself up. I was like, I'm going to get a job doing podcasting. I'm like, you have to realize almost nobody hires a podcaster. They hire a writer, or they hire a video producer, or somebody who, okay, cool, they can also podcast. There's very few outlets and companies that hire specifically a podcaster. Like, just because it has become so saturated, like everybody, every white man over 30 has a podcast, like,
and under, like,
it's
Jill, did you ever pod? Did you?
No one had to be subjected to that.
So three-fourths of this panel had podcasts before, like, which I guess
and I can tell you, I put it on my resume. You know what happened the other day? Ryan and I were talking about the future of this show, right? And no, I'm not throwing shade at Ryan. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
But I had in my head, I'm like, oh, people know me. I got hired because I had all this experience podcasting. We were talking about like you leaving. I was like, yeah, I mean, I hosted a podcast for 5 years, so I can host it. He's like, oh, I didn't know that. So like, even the person who hired me didn't know, like, it's I just want to say that because I feel like people are like, podcasting is the ticket to get me in the industry.
No.
And it really isn't. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, and I follow a lot of podcasters, and I don't say that kind of thing on social media because I don't want to be discouraging. But since people are asking for advice on podcasting, if you're currently doing it, don't be discouraged by that. Just know that you might have to pick up a couple other skills to complement that. But if you haven't developed any skills yet, and you're thinking that podcasting is like the skill that you need to have, I will say anybody can talk in front of a microphone.
Right.
And you can even get hired to talk in front of a microphone as part of your job, like me. And I don't think I'm that. There's plenty of other people that are better in front of microphones, right? But I'm really good at video editing, and I'm good at filming, and that's kind of like what my career is attached to. And if I'm on a podcast, cool. But yeah, I'm being long-witted. That's what I have to say.
Very well said. I think that's a great call out, and something we've preached on the show for a while. It's like, you have to be a multifaceted beast to be in this industry.
And also just know you could do all that and not get a job. There are so few volumes of media jobs. You have to be really lucky. You have to be ready to go. You have to have your skill set honed. You have to have your portfolio. And you have to be freaking lucky, man. Like, really lucky. I think that's like the biggest thing you have to have is luck.
But I mean, yes, 100%. But if you do put the work in and you do have it, you have a better shot. Like Alex did because I instantly, when I saw Alex's Fortnite video, I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, this guy gets it. This guy has it. So just put yourself in the right positions. And
that was like 5 years into me doing it.
Yeah, stuff can happen.
I was like gonna quit because I was so burnt out.
Yeah, and here you are now.
And here I am now.
Yeah,
happy with my job, loving life.
Yeah, Jill, any thoughts here? Or should we move to the next one?
Just having not owned or started a podcast, the only thing I really want to say is just have fun. Like, I know that Van Aken touched on this a little bit, but if you're coming in and you're stressed about everything and you're, gotta hit that deadline, gotta make sure, like, that comes through. Like, a lot of the times we're all here thinking about some of our deadlines that we have to worry about, and how we're going to get through the show or what we're going to do for the next show. But when we are here, we are all just having fun with each other, and it's one of the greatest parts of this job is just being able to talk with your friends about video games, and video games should be a joyous, happy thing that you are enthusiastic about. And if you are losing that, then don't try to force it. Have fun. Talk with your friends.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, have fun with it. See if you can find other people who enjoy having fun, like with you two, and invite them on. Don't clout chase. People know that instantly. Just like find like-minded folks who enjoy what they do, and stuff can happen. So
can I say one practical last thing, like really practical?
Hit them.
If you want to save money on podcasting, use archive.org to host your episodes for free. Then make a small website. I use WordPress. Pay for the WordPress Blueberry plugin. You take your link from archive.org, you put it into the plugin on your WordPress site, and you take whatever link that spits out and put that in. That's the link you use to submit your RSS feed, and you don't have to worry about episode lengths or the size of files, because archive.org does it all for free. And it's a great way to save money doing podcasting. You just have to have your own website and do a little bit of the work on the back end, but I think you might save money depending on, I at one point in time, we had like 6 podcasts going, each like over an hour. And I think if we were paying through a podcasting service, I won't name, like there's plenty of them out there, we just wouldn't have been able to do that economically. And we did it for $30 a month, and we would host like tons of we could host as many podcasts as we wanted to. So yeah, archive.org is your friend. Look into it. Good luck.
And you also are contributing to the archival efforts.
And they're actually like going through some stuff right now.
Yeah.
Archive.org.
Chuck Wendig is the enemy.
Yeah. So go also, like, if you can't donate to archive.org, if you are going to use it that way, like try to throw them some money, because it's an excellent service. It is, they are essential to like archiving and preserving
the internet.
Books. Yeah, it's the Internet Archive. Go check it out.
Yeah. On to the next one. This one is from Jason Wojner on Twitter. Shout out to Jason. Jason says, "Hi, Alex. Been out of the loop for a bit because I was in Ukraine when the invasion started, and have been spending my time figuring out my future, doing what I can to help my friends still there." He also says, "Donate to Ukraine-based charities, not the International Red Cross. It's important." I'll be tuning in though, and just wanted to wish you the best of luck with whatever you pursue, and get one last community question in for you and the group. What is one game you want people to associate with you? Meaning, if it randomly comes up in someone's life, it will make them think of you. Think like a song on the radio that reminds you of someone unexpectedly. From Jason.
That's a cool question.
Yeah, isn't it? I like that one a lot. Also, shout out to Jason. I hope you're staying safe. Like, for real. That is scary times over there, so be safe. I mean, I think it's either Halo or Pokemon, right? I think that was kind of my thing here, and like what I've grown up on are those two franchises, like, mean the most to me, I think. So I think if you think of me, I'm sure Halo comes up, or maybe maybe I'm anyone who frags you in multiplayer, like I'm in the wind, I'm on Zeta Halo with you. Like, I think that's probably my go-to. So
he's a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the ghost of Sparta. Wait a minute.
What?
That's from something else. VA, what about you?
A game I want to be associated with. I want people to think about that game when they think of me.
Like, if you need time, I already know what mine is.
Jill, yeah,
you got one?
You go.
Like, if anyone can't guess what it is, I'd be super surprised. But
Tunic.
It's 100% Tunic.
Yeah.
I really love this game. This might be one of my favorite games of all time. Can't hype it enough. I hope everybody gets a chance to play it. I hope it lands very high in our end of the year discussions. I couldn't get enough of it. So, it's just a fun Zelda-like adventure with Souls-like combat that is so refreshing in its very genuine self-led adventure and discovery, and you don't get a lot of that. So I would be like absolutely just pleased if people heard the word Tunic and thought of me.
100%. It looks like Van Aken's still stewing. B Money. What about you?
Deadly Rooms of Death.
Is it even a game?
Yeah, it's a game.
Okay.
What do you mean? It's a good game.
I think about that game all the time.
The game is so good. Hell yeah, Jill. That game rules. Play it.
Now I'll always think of you when I see this game.
Yep.
The game is awesome. It's just a little puzzle game. I don't know. It's awesome. There's like 35 of them, pretty sure. Dude, download it. I'm pretty sure they're open source. You can get it for free, I think.
Okay.
Great. Those games rule.
There we go. VA.
People who knew me before my run at Game Informer would resonate if I said Lawbreakers, but I don't think I've talked about Lawbreakers much at my time at Game Informer. But I ran that game into the ground, and I also played Radical Heights because of it. I was a big player of Boss Key production games, but these days, I think it's.
Look at that.
I think it's
what's that?
It's Deathloop. It's our cover of Deathloop, our magazine cover. Have you seen it before, Blake?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Game Informer?
Yeah. Are you familiar that we have a magazine?
What?
You didn't know? I'd say Arcane in general. I feel like I want to be careful just because like I cover them. They make my favorite games, but I also have to critique their games. But yeah, I think any Arcane game, they're my favorite they're my favorite developer. I mean, and I love their games. And Deathloop just took me, and I love the coverage I put out on Deathloop. I put out a lot of coverage that I really enjoyed. The reason I have this poster is it was like the first cover I felt like I influenced and like came up with ideas that like were actually like kind of shaped our coverage of that game. And I put out a video essay that absolutely tanked maybe one of the worst performing videos on the channel. I think it's got like 5K views. It's awful, but it is it is one of the best video essays I think I've made. I just put it out way too late.
Yeah.
But the presentation, I worked my ass off on that video, and I'm really proud of it. Even though it performed like Dookie, but that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. But I'd say Arcane, Deathloop. I like those games a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Before that, it would have been Breath of the Wild or Lawbreakers, but I've moved on.
Grown, changed.
What a gulf between those two games: Breath of the Wild and Lawbreakers.
I've got two copies of Lawbreakers limited edition that were. One of them they were both gifts, I should say. One of them is sealed. One of them is unsealed because I wanted to see what was inside. But one of them, I can't say that on air because I'll get people in trouble. But one of the people, I will say this: the people that gifted me a copy of the game may or may not have, signed copies of the game like they were perhaps somebody else. And it's really funny to me. I can't say much more because I can get people in trouble. But that's what I can say. Maybe there was some comedic forgery happening to make it look like it was more of an official,
They're not going to get Boss Key back together to go after these people. They're not going to get in trouble. There's no one to be mad left.
Okay, here's how it went down. I've pieced it together from all of the clues.
Yeah.
Your copy of the game is actually a seal.
Yeah.
And you stole it from the ocean.
Yeah.
And people then signed it.
Yeah.
Fraudulently.
Yeah.
Dude.
So that's why you can't talk about it.
I will say a group of people that worked on that game. I would say a group of people that worked on that game sent me a copy and signed it, but they pretended to be maybe some of the more public-facing people. So I've got fake signatures on my copy, and it's very funny to me, and I will never get rid of it because of that detail. Yeah.
There's a couple of side tangents.
All of that is alleged.
Show.
All that's alleged. It's hearsay. Can't do anything with it legally.
It's not alleged if you said it about something you own.
That's true. It's true.
And here I say we're moving on to the next question. That's what we're doing next. What a wild ride we just went on, folks.
It was Silver Sharpie.
Yeah. Next one from Zach Plaguey over in Discord. Shout out to Plaguey. Was there any video content or feature you really wanted to do, push for it, but for some reason it was either denied or never manifested the way you had hoped? Yes, lots and lots and lots. I have a whole notebook full of show ideas that never came to be, and not out of any malicious thing, right? Just the nature of the role I took on here demanded my time elsewhere, right? I think y'all have been through the ride with us here, but like the D&D show is always the great white whale for me that I think about. Where we had a D&D show in the McNamara era, like planned out, like Miller was going to DM because Matt Miller is allegedly one of the best DMs anyone's ever worked with. And it seemed like it at the start. And then Andy left, Leo left, like things kind of fell apart, and it was never meant to be in the GI world, but it was going to be so dope. Like Leo and I had a character like we were planning that was going to be to make up for, because we both wanted to be on the show, right? And we were both going to have to run tech though at the same time. So like we were doing it where, without getting too into detail, like dimensions clashed and like his character and my character formed into one body, and it was just going to be really cool, and there was some really creative stuff in it that I really wish people could have seen, but it wasn't meant to be, obviously.
Didn't you all do this for an Extra Life?
No, Extra Life. I was there that year because I was interning. That was, first of all, it was a stretch to call it D&D. I was in the back, like furiously writing like a little script every time something would happen, and trying to like, here's the lingo you guys need to know, which Reeves just totally went off the deep end with. But ever since Stadnik, I've heard of this mythical D&D show with Miller as the DM. I'm like, I want this to happen so bad.
Yeah.
So that's my answer too, is that D&D show.
Right. Yeah. And I think for me, there was some documentaries I was writing, like the ideas for that I really wanted to pursue. And obviously, COVID got in the way of that. Me leaving is getting in the way of that, obviously. And that's the kind of stuff I'll look at and be like, oh, that would have been cool. So, but there's some other stuff too. I don't need to get too in the weeds about it. But yeah, I think that's at any media outlet, right? Like you have pitches, you have ideas, and sometimes they come to fruition, sometimes they don't. It's just the nature of the beast. So.
Are we all going around the horn and revealing these deep, dark secrets?
I thought I talked about the D&D one because we had built it up on the GI show for a couple weeks until we, because that was during McNamara's tenure as host, and we were teasing it and stuff like that. And then before we got it ready, Andy was like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't," and then we found out why a couple weeks later. So, but yeah, I mean, floor is yours.
Oh, I don't know. Back in the day when I was freelancing for Polygon, because I don't know, they just got like F you money over there, or at least they did back then. I would not even think about a story I wanted to do. I would think about a place I wanted to go. I remember creating like a budget to go to Antarctica.
Oh my! I love that. That is fantastic.
Like, God bless my editor over there. I was like, no, I kind of want to go to Antarctica. He was like, you figure out how much it costs. And it was a very quick no when I sent him the budget. But the one I always wanted to do, which was not based around travel, was I wanted to do a story about the Capcom 5, which were the 5 exclusive games developed for the Nintendo GameCube, of which only one remained an exclusive. One was canceled, and then the rest was like RE4 and like Beautiful Joe, and PNO3, I think, is the only one that remained an exclusive. Anyway, they were supposed to be this huge partnership between Capcom and GameCube that was gonna set the world on fire, make GameCube the biggest thing, make GameCube the biggest thing ever. Basically, it was a failure across the board, except for Resident Evil 4, which did not remain an exclusive. So my idea was to do 5 oral histories about each of the games: PNO3, Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil, the other 2 that I can't
referred
think.
to as, yeah.
Killer 7, and
Oh,
the other one is the canceled one, which I can't remember the name of. Anyway, you would read all 5 of those, and on the surface, it would appear to be 5 individual oral histories. And as you read it, you would realize you got the 6th overarching oral history that is the story of the business dealings behind the Capcom 5. So it would kind of play out throughout 5 different oral histories. And that didn't happen because it was extremely expensive. I don't speak Japanese, and I would have to do like probably 100 plus Japanese interviews, all translated, which costs money. I don't know. I would either have to change my schedule to be awake during the nighttime or move to Japan for a year. Also, wasn't gonna be paid for as a freelancer.
Right.
And I feel like I saw that idea come out somewhere else later about a different game series. And I don't mean that in a bitter way. I'm just glad it exists. But it was about a different Capcom thing, and I feel like it was partially my idea. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So that was always the big one I always wanted to do. And I've kicked around the idea of doing it for Game Informer. And then I just realized, who's got time for all that? I gotta write the
Who
table
wants to move to Japan? You know,
I have to write the table of contents.
Are we all down? Can we all just move to Japan? Is that on the table?
Not, you know?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. And Aken, you're in? Great.
My family lived there for a few years.
There we go.
I can go hit up their old stomping grounds. Hit up their old landlord, from 1989. Hey, boss, you still alive?
Still in the land business?
Still got land? Can I get a family discount?
It's all coming together.
There you go.
I know you remember them.
Yeah. Next one, or do y'all have anything to add to this? Next one. All right. This one is from Biscuits with Davey over on Discord. And they say, wait, is this the one I want to read? Yeah. Like everyone, I'm sad to see you go, but I'm sure the time you've been at GI has afforded you so many good memories and valuable lessons. I'm hoping you'll already be discussing some of your favorite memories, but on the other side, what have been some of the most valuable lessons you've learned working in the industry and working with other talented people at GI? A great question. This goes hand in hand with our next one that we'll read too. So, lessons learned is advocate for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. That was a hard one for me, but it is something where, and more specifically, I'm like, when you're trying to pitch stories, right? Like when you're trying to get guests, right? You have to be your biggest advocate, right? You also have to say no. And that is something I still struggle with, because there's going to be, especially if you ever find yourself in a media position, right? There's going to be thousands of potential things you could do, right? What you need to remember is that you are a human who needs water and sleep, and those are more important than
video games,
killing yourself over them. Like, yeah, there's plenty of nights that I just should have said no, and that's on me. That's not no one, and that's the beauty of GI. And let me be perfectly clear: no one's pushing me, right? Like, we're all pushing each other, right? But like, I never went after a deadline that I didn't have the power to say, nope, this isn't going to happen, but I did. And, I think that's part of it, is like, I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to work my butt off, and you can still do those things. Just remember that you have a life and family and friends who care about seeing you, and, to not forget them and not, forget that you need those essential things. So, that was really important, and that's something I'm going to try to take with me wherever I go. That's a long journey. I still need to probably go to therapy about, but anyways, that's a whole nother thing. So, I've learned, I think being around great people, you pick up on what makes them great, right? And you try to replicate it. Like Alex is polished with his videos, definitely his thumbnail skills and shooting his eye for shooting video is impeccable and something I do not possess, but I've been trying to learn as much as I can from him in those regards. You know,
you do just fine, my friend.
Just fine. Thank you. I think those are the main kind of things. Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know. Do y'all have any other lessons too you want to impart here? This isn't just me on this one.
I think for me, the thing that jumps out immediately, obviously everybody I've ever worked with at Game Informer has imparted some sort of knowledge that I am deeply grateful for. But what jumps out to me is actually something back from my time as an intern. And they do a lot of teaching when you're in that position, or they did, to make sure that you sort of understood some things about the industry you were thinking about getting into. And I remember Joe Juba took us out for lunch at some point, and he was a reviews editor at the time. And I was so angry about something that had happened in my comments section, and he had such a great lesson of just like, don't let the fools get to you. You know, they don't know what they're talking about. They um it won't help you to be upset about it. So I don't anymore, you know. Especially with comments directed a certain way because of a certain way I was born, and you know, not perhaps being a large majority in the video game space, especially in uh, the higher levels of people seeing you. Right. So don't let that get to you, because that's not about you. And I really appreciate him, and I love all of the GI crew, past and present. Means so much to everybody here. But also learned that I was a terrible liar. So thanks for that, Joe Juba.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Blake, Alex, anything to add?
I'll go.
Oh.
You guys go together. It'll be cute.
I feel like my writing has become so much better since joining Game Informer. Even though I wasn't hired to be a writer, my job does involve writing as a video editor, and also because I'm writing scripts and stuff. But also, I do write for the magazine. I've written for the website, and I've reviewed games, and I feel like my writing is so much stronger than it used to be. And like for a long time, it was really hard for me to take the not hard to accept the feedback, but hard to remember it and like implement it on a daily basis. And now it's just like second nature. I'm like, oh, I just caught, I'm using passive voice. So, you know, I need to cut down on my VATs, and I need to be simpler and more, you know, concise. And it's just so much more natural to me now. I feel like my edits are more content focused now and less like grammar or technically focused now, if that makes sense. Whereas in the beginning it was a lot of like, hey, like this entire thing's written in passive voice, what are you doing? And now I very rarely use passive voice, and so my writing's come a long way. And I mean, I've learned a lot, countless things, but that'll be my answer.
Okay. Blake, anything, or should we keep going?
I feel the same way. I do a lot more editing here than I did as a freelancer. Not to say I didn't edit as a freelancer, but it wasn't like a focus. It was kind of usually under the table stuff like, hey, can you edit this before I say? Anyway. Right. A huge part of my job here is editing. And I don't mean this in a mean way, but I know the things that other writers do that annoy me. And then I realized I also do those things. And so that has kind of like created a like, and when I say annoy me, I don't mean like you're a bad writer for doing this. It's just like writers have certain tics and editors have certain things that kind of get under their skin. That's kind of the way that the relationship works because of that. And the things it's helped me realize weaknesses in my own writing that I have tried to stop doing. Also, I don't know, don't kill yourself for a job. Like when I don't work a lot of overtime. It's just like I'm not going to lose sleep over something I'm not passionate about. And that's not to say I'm not passionate about my job, but there are obviously going to be parts of it I'm not passionate about. And that stuff can wait till tomorrow. I'm a person. I'm going to die one day. And I'm not going to waste time on something that doesn't need to be wasted time on, So that's something I would not have done as a freelancer. As a freelancer, I remember one night in particular, like pushing myself so hard that I was like breaking down into tears. And like, I just would never do that now.
Yeah.
And I learned that here.
Yeah. Alex and I went through something similar during the console launches and stuff. I think the last thing I'll add is you should look up to people, right? Find people you look up to. Don't make them your heroes, because we're just people. Some people are just people, right? And also some of your heroes are bad people. So that's something I've learned being in the industry.
Look up to me.
Look up to Blake. You genuinely
at Radmuir.
At Radmuir. You can
At
look up.
Radmuir.
Yeah, you can look up to them. So let's get into a little bit more happier one here. Fire Outside on Discord says, you better bring all the big man swag you have for this week. I'm trying. We've been fighting through tears and it's been great. But I hope I'm bringing the big man swag today. Note, it's a cliche question. Aren't you excited to never say that again after I leave, Alex?
Genuinely, yes.
Yeah, I know you are.
But I do it for you, Alex, because I care about you.
I appreciate that. So, it's you had a hand in so many projects during your time at GI. So which one was your favorite? The GI show, traveling to LA, a specific game you helped put out coverage for? I was waiting for. I wasn't waiting for someone to ask this. I knew we were getting to it. I mean, like, there's been a lot of negative around GI lately for, the situation that we're in. I did have a lot of fun. There's a lot of great memories here that I'm going to cherish forever. And a couple of them are ones you brought up. The LA trip was like the embodiment of everything I wanted a trip to be, right? If you didn't follow us, right, we went to Summer Games Fest earlier this year, went to LA. And we went to in June, and it was this mad dash of us filming interviews, capturing gameplay, then running back to the hotel to film the podcast, and then we'd run out to go get drinks and dinner with colleagues, new friends, old friends, like that kind of stuff. And then we'd go back to work, and then we'd get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, start the next day, and it was just this whirlwind that had these moments that I'll never forget. And it's like, I feel like I had hit so many of the things I wanted to do in my career here, and like that was my white whale of like, I still have never traveled, right? Because of the pandemic and some of the budget stuff, right? But like getting to share that, especially with like Marcus and Alex and Shay too, like that was a bond that I feel like I grew even closer to you guys as friends.
Yeah.
And it was such a blast. That one is an amazing one. The first 6 months or so I was at GI, right? Because it was this fresh, wild thing, right? Where I just vividly remember stepping into the office for the first time as being going from fan to working there, and just like, oh, this is how they do the studio. Oh, that look at this staircase. Where does this go? Oh, like the desks are up here. Like getting to see behind the curtain and stuff like that, and eventually what I would call my home in the studio, right? And it was this moment of being in the bullpen with people I had read their stuff for years, right? And I was like, oh, I'm part of this now. Like Joe Juba's sitting right there, Reiner's around the corner. Like that's a surreal experience I'll never forget. I'm trying to think what else. Favorite cover stories, I think the Spider-Man Miles Morales cover stories, probably my favorite. That and Halo stick out to me. Just because Miles Morales was the first one I got to do like on my own because Leo was doing the other cover stories. Yeah, right there. Love it. And I've said it before, but we kind of had the little corner of the internet to ourselves during that because like the page blew up, which was really cool to see that level of success. I also got in a little bit of trouble because I wasn't putting Marvels in front of everything, but that's neither here nor there. But it was just like, and it was weird too because I was sitting alone. So I had COVID at this point, or I've already had COVID at this point, and I needed a place to work because like my old apartment just wasn't. I needed to get out of my old apartment at that time. So like I was the only one who was going into the office like by myself, and it was weird and eerie. But I got to like be alone in that place for a little bit and like kind of have it to myself, which was a neat experience, especially now since it's gone. You know, I'm trying to think what else. And I think just to put a cap on it, all the times that we've hung out outside of work, I think are my favorites. Just getting to know everyone as people, really feeling like a part of the team. You know, there's a lot of good times, and I'm really I'm so proud of what Leo, Alex, and I like what during my tenure here, what we were all able to accomplish. Like, you know, and Hansen too, but I was an intern under Hansen. We didn't get to work a ton together, but like at max we were 2 people and a group of awesome editors. But like there's videos that we competed with IGN, GameSpot, like, you know, that we got a piece of that pie, and because we worked our asses off and we did the right things, and that always just felt really, really good. And
that that Biomutant video that you put up was like, you should like, that's like should be on your LinkedIn for
yes,
like
sir.
being scrappy and flexible, because we weren't going to do anything on it, right? And then we got gameplay B-roll, and I was like, well, I mean, like we should get something up.
Yeah.
And it ended up being, I think that video might be at like 1 million views almost now.
The NGT is at almost 1 million, and I think the character creator was at 500,000, and no other sites were doing it.
Yeah, and you said you've talked to other people at other sites, and they're like, yeah, we were all upset about that, because like it was right under everybody's noses, but you just had the eye for it, and you're like, I feel like we should do something on this. And you know, the game came out and didn't live up to the
Bumps
preview.
Me out, man.
Yeah, I know. But that video, just like, I was like, yeah, that was him, because he saw something in it. He was like, people are gonna like this, and he did it in record time, and it just, we were feasting for a while.
Right. Oh yeah, dude. The page was living.
I was like, I don't have to do any work, man. I can just
life is good. We can step back.
This little NGT is just carrying stuff.
Right. I think in that vein too, I think one of my favorite videos I've ever done here was the Animal Crossing video. I've talked about it before, but like making that was so much fun too, because like we just got to hop on Discord with everyone in editorial and production who was playing, right? And just get these little tours of their homes that they made, especially during the pandemic, that like everyone's island was very special to them, except for I have this vivid memory of like we go to these palaces that mags have made, right? This like recreations of Lord of the Rings sets and everything. And then we go to Brian Shays, who in his defense, he didn't spend as much time with it, right? And he's like, and here's my logs right here, and then and here's my boxing ring, and there's just this lull, and in the conversation he goes, what do you want from me? It is still one of the funniest things I think he's ever said. And that video, like Alex said, like he talked about 5K bombing for his Deathloop video. I think that Animal Crossing maybe got 2,000 views.
It's at 3,800.
Oh, okay, good. So it's doubled since I last checked. Yeah. It is just and especially with like, because I got to host that with Leo and Cork. Like it was just, that was such a fun video to make, and I loved creating that, and that's still one of my all-time favorites.
Watch the footage right now.
So good.
I'm just scrubbing through and seeing all these elaborate.
Stop playing, doing the podcast, and just start watching this.
Just start watching.
I'm just scrolling. I've seen all these like elaborate things, and then I'm at Shay's, and it's just it's so bare bones.
Yeah. Well, damn, you live like this moment.
Yeah. Is he our Nintendo dude too? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Dude, he's got like, oh man, poor guy.
It's so good. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a snapshot of my memories. I have a lot of memories too, outside of that, but I think those are a good couple things. And doing the GI show, like I've been producing it for 3 years now, on and off, right, between Leo and Alex, and getting to host it is it was a privilege. So good times.
Absolutely.
I think we'll do Kim's and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay. Kim
K-Star.
Kim Wallace?
Kim Wallace, the one and only. You believe that?
My Lord, as I live and breathe.
Yeah. K Starlet, as she goes by on Discord, says, defend why you're such a Sora apologist. Nomura recently said he couldn't see a numbered title without him. Why do you think he's still interesting as a main character, and where would you like to see the character go in the upcoming entry? P.S. Isn't Aqua the baddest in the land?
This is how you're ending your time on the GI show.
Well, maybe
This
I'll do
question.
one more. I'll maybe do one more after that, but now you got me in my head. I'll just be quick about this. It's a nostalgia thing because I feel like I grew up with Sora because we were playing those games when I was just a wee lad, you know. I actually wanted him to die off in 3. I was like, I'm ready for this part of the story to like go away, and like get a good ending for him. And they just, well, spoilers, they didn't kill him, you know. So I'm ride or die with Sora just because I think it's the nostalgia. I don't know if there's anything else to say there, but shout out to my boy. And he's a kick-ass Smash character. Like, he's genuinely one of my favorite characters now in Smash. He's so good. He may be a little overpowered, but doesn't matter, you know? Still like him. Well, now I feel like I should have ended with my favorite memories one, looking at the rest of these. So
Like that.
I gotta ask you, Alex. Let me ask you a
Haggard.
question.
yeah. What do you
Let
got?
me ask you. What was the worst part of working at GI? I'm kidding.
Oh.
Can you
I mean-
explain why everyone's dressed as hot dogs
What?
in this Animal Crossing video?
I do have a
I'm
question
still
for you.
there.
That was Joe Juba. That was his presents. He gave us presents for coming onto his island, and everyone has to dress up like a hot dog. But I was panicking in my head, and I couldn't figure out the controls, so I keep dropping it in the video, and it's just this like I can tell like Joe and Jeff are like, you know, when they're patient, but they're also like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's that moment that I was like, it turned it into a much funnier thing. So
That's
Yeah.
great.
yeah. What's your question, sir?
Where are you going next?
Where am I going next? Didn't we
Yeah.
say I can't say that?
I'm just trying. I'm being a journalist, you know. I'm
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
asking your
the
real questions.
You know.
Yeah.
I know.
am-
I know where.
I know you know. I am going without saying it. I'm still in games.
Okay.
I am still editing. I can
Okay.
tell you I'm moving to California.
Yeah, you are.
I
West
am
Coast, Best
moving-
Coast.
West Coast, Best Coast. Jill finally broke me down. She's been saying she's flaunting it, right? During the winter winds, she's like, you know what's
Look at the
great
sun.
and not -50? California. And we're like, you know what has earthquakes? California. But it didn't work. I'm still going.
I feel
Yeah,
like that's
no.
a lot to chew on for people.
Yeah.
Enjoy
staying in
that San
games.
Andreas fault line, dork.
All right, nerd. Enjoy winter.
I won't. I'm leaving too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're coming with me. Yeah, Blake and I are becoming roommates. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
miss
That's a lot
Fiance.
to chew on.
yeah. And like I said, I'm still like I think part of why I needed a new adventure is monetizing your hobby is amazing, but it also comes with drawbacks, right? And you start to blend work with play, and sometimes that's not fun. You know, it's cool to be like in the conversation, right, of some of these games, right? But like when you had to burn through it, play a 60-hour game in 3 days, like that takes its toll. And editing has always been a thing for me where it's like video editing feels like the one thing I'm good at. You know what I mean? Like truly, like, because I went to school with engineers, mathematicians, like business majors, right? I didn't feel smart until I sat in front of Final Cut Pro in college, and I was like, oh, I understand this now. Just, you know, and I found out later why in life, like I'm dyslexic, I have dysgraphia, I have a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in my head. But so like editing is like a passion that I feel like even supersedes games. And that's something like I feel like in this position I'm in, I didn't get to hone in on as much as I wanted to sometimes, right? Because a deadline's a deadline. And if I want to get this video up by embargo, I need to get it done. And I can't find places to add J cuts or more interesting visuals, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I am going to a place where I can really hone in on the creativity of my craft and really up my game. and I cannot tell you how excited that makes me. And I'm so thankful for everything that I got to do at GI here. With that, like I'm not trying to disparage anything, right? But it's like I feel like I'm getting to focus even more on that aspect of what I love, and I'm very, very excited for that in California. So there you go.
Awesome.
That's a good
Right
one.
on.
That's a good one. Too.
We're excited for you.
Let's throw it back to you, Alex, and then I'll do a sappy goodbye. But
okay.
So, like we said earlier, Game Informer is not going anywhere.
No.
And has one of the best video people ever at the helm of the YouTube page.
Thank you.
And Alex, this is where I'm going to shut up, and you're going to tell us. You can be broad strokes. You can do. I mean, you can say whatever you want to, right? Like, what does the future look like? I know some of the things you're working on, but like, tease what you want to tease. Like, what does the next couple weeks, a year look like? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'll be hosting the Game Informer show. I'm gonna have to be more buttoned up. I can't just be sitting here in a chair and making dumb jokes. I'm gonna have to actually host, which I haven't done in like a year and a half, but it'll be fun. So Game Informer show will still go. I think it's just gonna be me for the time being. Solo podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Eat your heart out, Jeff Gertzman. He's coming for you.
Yeah. No. Like same. I'm not gonna mess with any of that right now. I like our format. It's I think people like listening to it. So expect mostly the same from the GI show, where we might be getting rid of the video version for now. We aren't hiring another video editor. It's just going to be me. That's not my decision to make. So it'll just be me for the foreseeable future. So bandwidth, I want to be able to work on exciting new things. And I need to shave time off where I can. And to be frank, like the video version of the podcast, ever since the pandemic, just like has kind of gone down. And I think that time that is spent to do a video version, it's better spent on other video stuff. So on the channel, I might be blowing things up a little bit here and there. I've got, the mandate that I need to keep NGT around. So if you like that show, you'll still get those. Maybe not as many. I want to be more specific on what we do with that. But you can expect probably the thing that makes me happy is more like original features. I'm trying to figure out how to do that, with bandwidth in mind, but I like talking. I like editing. I want to try to do more things that play to my strengths. So maybe a few more video essays. The big push, and I've been teasing this on social media for a while. I mean, if you followed me at OK Beast, the thing I did previously, you'll know that it was like going to be the thing that I put my name on. Like I wanted to be part of, this it's not a movement, but like this format that is becoming ever increasingly popular in the industry. Documentaries. We are video profiles, documentaries, whatever you want to call them. I think that is where I see my future at Game Informer. And we have filmed 2. We are filming another one likely in a few weeks.
Few months, maybe.
Few months.
We'll see.
Yeah. That has been something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I think I'm good at it. I think Blake has been involved with all of them, or not all of them, but most of them now. And I think he's got a good eye for interesting stories. I think I've got a good eye for interesting visuals and pulling that story together. And I think as he said, we're a dynamic duo. I think we're a good team. And yeah, I'm excited to pursue that as Game Informer. I think we have a long, rich history as an outlet. We've been here for 30 years. We've got a lot of access that other people don't. We've built up a lot of trust with people. I think that kind of video plays heavily to our strengths. And it's something I'm interested in. And I think there's a lot of room to explore in that space. So that is coming. I think the first one is going to land either end of July, early August. If you've seen on Twitter, I posted some teasers. You can, zoom in and maybe figure out what game it was. But yeah, so that's kind of the plan. There's more, but I'm still figuring it all out. Yeah, it's very much like, oh yeah, you're leaving this week. I guess I need to figure out all that because I was so.
Wait, did I forget to tell you? Shoot. Yeah, dude, I'm
There's
gone.
just so much on a week-to-week basis that we have on our plates. Also, just like original reporting in general on the YouTube page. I really love what People Make Games does, and No Clip and Archipel. Those are big inspirations for me, and whether there's travel involved or not, that's the kind of stuff that excites me, and that's the kind of stuff I'm going to try to pursue. And yeah, that's kind of where it's headed.
Yeah,
at least for this next. I hesitate to call it an era because it's one guy. This next few years or few months or whatever. I don't know when we're gonna hire somebody else, but in the meantime, I'm gonna do what I want to do, with the approval, of course, of everyone else. But
right.
You got to do what makes you happy at work. I think it also will be successful. And yeah, I have ideas for other shows and stuff, but to be frank, not ready to talk about that yet.
D&D stream?
D&D stream.
Yeah.
Some of those might be better suited to like a personal channel kind of thing as well.
Right.
I'm just, yeah.
People are calling him the Casey Neistat at game journalism.
They have been saying that. Yeah.
People just keep saying that. That's what you can expect.
Person keeps saying that. You're right. Yeah.
I think it is a compliment. Casey Neistat.
And rules. I'm going to keep saying it.
Yes.
Casey Neistat rules, man. Bring back the vlog. Don't bring back the vlog. It was very unhealthy for Casey. But man, that side
release that documentary though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I really want to see that. I really want to see that.
Yeah.
And Alex, can I stream?
Yeah.
Can I do it like tonight?
Yeah.
Just give me the login. I'm gonna take it over.
We have plans tonight. No, you can't stream tonight.
Oh yeah, we have plans. Yeah.
We're going to see that your movie. You know,
I can stream
it. I can stream it after.
Maybe I'll hop on Discord with you
during the movie.
Yeah, I'll stream the movie. I'll do an IRL stream with the boys.
Yeah, with the fellas.
I'm taking it over. Reiner's gonna shut it down within a day.
But that's the plan. More documentary. Well, not more. I don't think we've really done them before, but also like look at the Street Fighter 6 interview that I edited and did. Thanks to Marcus for helping me with that. It was just gonna be me at the interview, and I was like, hold up, I got to do that. I got to hold this camera. Can you just like ask the questions that I wrote down? And so thank you to Marcus for helping pull that video together. But like, that's like, there's a press cycle that we have to, be a part of, but I do want to separate us from that. So we're less reliant on it. But when we are a part of it, like with Street Fighter, I felt like we got that video up like 3 weeks after other places did. And it still did really well. And I think, a lot of that is the presentation. I think I just want to, my main goal is to make things look good, find interesting angles. And even if we can't find an interesting angle, there's certain times that like things have just been done many times before that like, you're like, okay, well, let me try to put my spin on it. So visuals are really important to me. And, yeah. So that's kind of the long-winded response.
Right. I think
it's gonna be great. This man's gonna knock it out of the park like his name Babe Ruth.
As he always does. I think if you rocked with me once Leo left and once Hansen left, and like that's something I'll always remember and be appreciative of is your patience with me as I found my footing. I ask that you give that to Van Aken as well, because like, if you liked what we did, like things are going to get even better with him under that same banner. So patience is needed, but know that like no bullshit. Like no bullshit. Like I've seen what he's been working on, and it is fantastic. Like easily the best shot stuff ever at Game Informer, better than I've ever done. Like so please, like it's going to be worth the wait. I guarantee it. So
we got drone footage, man.
We got drone footage. You kidding me?
We crashed a drone to get this footage.
I crashed my drone during one of our documentaries, and
man sacrificed his drone for y'all. You better
it's still
show
alive,
up to watch
but
it.
it's beaten and battered. But it looks sick, dude. I can't wait for people to see that. But
well, my final sign off as the GI show host is finally here. I've said it once, I'll say it again. This community has meant so much to me. I appreciate you giving me a shot. I know where things were after the first layoffs. I know no one wanted to see a young buck come up, but 3 years later, here we are. It has been absolutely amazing. I leave with a heavy heart, but I am excited for the future. I know everything I'm leaving is going to be in good hands. I wish it was in more. I wanted to come here and leave it a better place, right? And I think on a personal level, I think I've done that. I'm sad there's not more of us here. That
I've heard anecdotes about like how when you came in, like the company was at its lowest, and you were one of those people that brought enthusiasm back to the workplace, and I think you definitely left that mark.
Yeah, I look back at that, I'm like, yeah, there's just some things that it's like, was I just too naive of a kid? I don't know, but like, and that's how I look at my content journey as well. I hate that word, but like, I know I came off bro-y at times, or like let's go eat, you know what I mean? Like, it's just who I am. But I really hope that I could bring a smile to our viewers and listeners' faces, right? Like I was just me, for better or worse. And I know it came off as hammy sometimes, but also like I hope that most people enjoyed it, and we had some fun together. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff I wish I could have done, but I'm so excited for what I'm going to do, and I'm so excited for what this team is going to accomplish, because it's going to be one of their greatest accomplishments of all time, and I can't wait to watch it as a fan and support them. Like y'all have supported me for these 3 years. So for one last time, this has been episode 613 of the Game Informer Show. Thank you. Be good to one another, and we'll see you next time.